Hello and welcome to my tropical style garden rebuild here in the UK. Today is Saturday morning and it is a beautiful April day. I've got lots of plans to get work done in the garden, but this week it has not been going well and I have faced a bit of an absolute disaster. So let's get on with it and have a look. Okay, so I was at work yesterday and I got a phone call or a message basically from a good friend of mine saying that down their yard they had a large piece of pipe that they didn't need, and would it be good enough for my pond tunnel. So it's about 2 meters long and it's about 18 inches wide. We was hoping for about 2 foot, but this will do the job absolutely fine. And if my carp ever get that fat that they can't swim through it, then I'll have to worry about that at some other point. So with that in mind, he dropped it off and I came back from work really infused and thought, I cannot wait to get digging so I can get this ready and marked out and in place. So that's what I did. I came home after working hard all day, grafting, landscaping, and then thought, let's get on with it. I've been trying to get a couple of hours done each evening. It's been tiring work, just come across loads of bricks, rubble, really tough digging. But then yesterday, it nearly broke me, because that will come explanatory in a moment. I was digging the trench for the new fish tunnel and I came across just sheets and sheets of rusty corrugated metal all in the trench, just nearly 2 foot down, which I then suddenly had a really bad feeling about, because my house was built in the 1920s, so it's about 100 years old, and I had a horrible feeling that I may just come across maybe an old World War II bomb shelter that used to be made out of corrugated sheets, and they used to put them down the bottom of the garden. So I kept digging, kept breaking out. A lot of it was really rusted and jagged. Got a lot of it out. That's not all of it, that's some of it. And then I started to find underneath all kinds of stuff, from what looks like pram wheels, there was bike seats, all kinds of stuff, glass bottles absolutely everywhere, broken glass, as you can see, loads of old glass bottles, and there is still loads more in there. I can even see a saucepan handle. I don't know how much this goes on for. I have no idea. It goes under the side, it goes under there. Now, I only have to clear what I need to protect the pond and the pond liner. I don't have to go under all these palms and everything to see how big it is, obviously, because it's been there all these years and never been a problem. But I do have to make sure that this is a lovely clean trench. So even though I have protective underlays, I've got to make sure that nothing can pierce this liner. That may mean I've got to buy something to go under the underlay. I know some people use really old carpets, but I think I'd have to look into something thicker. But realistically, I've got to get all this metal out, and I don't know how far it goes on for. It could keep going all the way into my front pond. I have no idea. And to be honest, at 8 o'clock last night, it was starting to get dark. I was feeling a little bit broken, really disheartened, and was actually debating whether I was going to even carry on digging this trench, backfilling it all and making it just a nice shallow little stream. I was honestly that distraught by it all, because the whole week had just been hitting solid rubble and been a nightmare, especially hand digging it all. because I can't get a digger or excavator in here to do any of this. So yeah, very much a broken man. But then I went in last night, sat down, calmed myself down for a little bit, and whether it was just timing or whatever, I don't know, but last night's edition of Gardener's World came on, and Shade Landscapes pond was on there, the one that I visited and inspired this whole job. I watched the episode on Gardener's World, and literally it just made me open my eyes and go, that's what I want, whatever it takes. I did say in my last video, no regrets. There was points when I was digging this out, I really regretted it, believe me. So, without just aiming this camera, looking at a big, messy, rusty hole, I'm going to carry on digging. I have no idea where this video is going to go, the direction I'm taking. I don't know. I could dig every bit of this trench all the way to the pond, and it could be everywhere. I don't know. So I'm going to get on with it, and we'll see where we go from there. Right then, it's now 6 o'clock in the evening. I wanted to carry on filming, but it was a lovely sunny day and the neighbours had a bit of a barbecue on and family round and stuff, so it was a little bit noisy for me to be filming, to be fair. But you haven't missed much. All I've done is dig for about the last 7 hours, so at least the problem wasn't as big as I thought. Well, for now anyway. So I dug it all out, and I've had to backfill some of this because it was just full of water, because all the metal was acting like a soak away. Let's have a look at what's come out. We've got, yeah, the pram wheels. We've got like coal buckets, saucepans, corrugated mesh. At least on the bright side, it wasn't a bomb shelter, because that would have been a nightmare. Imagine that. Right, so I've backfilled this because it had gone all under there, all under the sides, creating big voids. So what I did first was I got a load of the clay that I'd been digging out from further up, and I hammered it all under there to fill the voids. And then this soil and a load of this sand and stone has just been backfilled for now, because it, like I say, it was just so wet. I do need to take this sort of top 3-4 inches back off, I think, to get it to the right level. But for now, it's keeping it dry, just in case the dog jumps down here and tries to run through. I'm going to, when I dig it out and get it all prepped right at the end, when it's all nearly ready for liner, then I will probably, the bottom, put a layer of sand all over the bottom before I put any underlays. I think is the option. I've now got to dig out all the shelves all along. I know that for the rocks on the top, I know that most pond builders would start from there, but realistically I had no idea how big this was going to be. It keeps changing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the pipe, lay it in. Hopefully this will all make sense, because I'm just going on about an hole at the minute. Let me go and get it. Right, that's kind of where the pipe's going to go, roughly. Obviously, levels of that got to be adjusted a bit, and all that kind of stuff. But if you look, we've got at the minute this, the bottom of this spirit level is going to be water level. So that's about 6 inches we've got at the minute, which is about 150 millimeters. So that's going to allow me to put gravel all the way. Obviously I've put this bit of membrane, so the liner, the pond liner will have an underlay to protect it. Then it will have your pond liner, your rubber liner, and that will go up right up here. And then you'll have another underlayment, and then backfill all this with rocks. I wouldn't have dug this much out, but because of the problems with all the metal, I've had to over dig it to get it all out. Then the rocks are going to come right up the sides. I've knocked the spirit level over, never mind. The rocks are going to come right up, and then a layer of smaller pebbles, gravel, just to cover an inch or two over the top. So there's going to be about 4 inches of water on top of this pipe, and then that's going to allow me to put nice big rocks on top, because it would just be level gravel all the way across, nice big stepping stones to step, 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 and across there. Then what I've got to do is address the situation at the ends. Obviously, I've got the bridge behind me. I don't want to look and see that pipe. So this is kind of why I didn't dig too much out, because I weren't sure until this goes in what I needed to dig out and what not. So I'm going to have to kind of put rocks around this top, overhanging the edge to hide that a bit. And then I'm going to have to dig out these sides, and then put rocks overlapping these faces to try and hide that pipe as best I can. And then also, maybe if I need to, I can use some sort of pond plants or whatever marginals around the side. We'll see, because from what I've heard, koi tend to trash pond plants, so I'm not going to go too into that yet until way down the line, to be fair. Right, I'm going to go around the other side and have a look how it's going to be from there. As you can see, I've still got to dig all this part out and the pond behind me, but the same again, there will be stepping stones across to walk up to that bit, and then I've got to dig out and work out, get some nice big rocks in front here as well, trying to keep the opening as big as absolute possible. I don't want to make that any smaller than I have to, just enough to try and disguise it. There's other ways of doing it as well. These plants around here, I could put some plants that hang down over the water and make it look thinner on the top, all sorts of things. Until I start rocking up, then I don't really know. Okay, right, the last video was about some of the problems I was facing. I've had loads of comments about it, especially from people that know about ponds. All really good information. I tried to reply to most. There was a lot of information to take in very little time, but all the information and the comments that people gave me was very much appreciated. So, to answer a few of my problems, let's ignore that there's loads of rusty buckets in front of me. So this area here is going to be the upper pond, and many people are telling me, and I'm aware, that koi for winter really need to go down to at least minimum of 3 foot. During the winter time, I've said most of the pond is pretty much going to be about 2 foot deep, and we can see the problems that's been causing me already. So this back area, I am going to get down to at least a minimum of 3 foot. And the way I'm going to do that is I am going to be taking up all this paving, which under the gazebo, which was going to happen anyway. And originally, I was going to put a hardwood decking down there, and I was going to overhang it over the side of the pond, because that allows me to dig a load more out. Now, my bridges are made of sleepers. The dogs come out to see what's going on. My sleepers are made of my bridges are made of sleepers. That makes more sense. So I'm thinking about now decking this all out with sleepers and then overhanging them right over here, so I could almost have a sheer drop down, and all the line will be hid under the deck. So I think it will fit in more, because all the timber I've used is chunky timber. That window in the back of the gazebo somewhere along there, the window sill to it was made out of a sleeper, which is basically a 8x4 piece of treated timber. I think if I come and deck all that, overhang it, go up here because this isn't making any real sense. So basically when I stand here now, it's gonna overhang, and then this can hopefully be a deeper part of the pond. That's got to all be dug out. The fish will be able to swim back in there. And then there's this area at the back which I'm digging out, and this is going to be my wetland filter. That's got to go down about another 2 foot. I'm already 2 foot down, which is about 600 mil. Got to go down again, and that's where all my filtration is going to come through, and then it's going to overflow because that will be at higher level, waterfall in there. I'm not going to go too much on about that because at the minute there's a big pile of rusty materials in the way, and you're going to see it a lot clearer when I do it. So there's no real point in talking about it now. I'm going to go to the front ponds now and discuss how I'm getting over that problem. Right, in my last video I talked about this part of the pond. I was really struggling to get it deep enough because it wasn't really wide enough, and people come up with different options to how I could get over that, which was a really good read. But sometimes the answer to a problem is the simplest one, and the answer to that is just make the pond bigger. So that's what I'm now going to do. I've decided, because I had more planting up here, this isn't how it's going to be, by the way. I've got to dig all the ledges right back here, work out the sizes, and then because it's going to be a lot bigger in this area now, I'm going to get more steps down to make it deeper, which should be really good. And this part I'm going to shallow up and just have it as a stream, so the fish might only be able to swim to about this part and then turn around, and I'm going to thin that right up and just turn that into a delicate little stream. I didn't want to make it much bigger because I wanted to get as many plants around it as I could, but then I started thinking, well, if I need to get over the problem by making it bigger, then I'll just have to make spaces to put marginal plants and pond plants in and use them. If I create shallows, I can put colocaceas in there in summer. I can put cannas on the edges and all other water-loving plants. So this looks an absolute mess now, so don't think too much of it. But one of my next jobs is, with a hell of a lot more digging, is to start digging and ledging all this. Now, when you see the sort of pond builders on YouTube build these, they have lovely square ledges. And originally that's what I was aiming for. But every time I put the spade in, I hit another brick, another boulder or anything. Now, in one of my previous videos, I planted Dacamarops humilis, and I was quite smug saying about how good my soil it was and how free draining. Brilliant soil. I take that back so much. All's eye of it is problems, problems, problems. I've had to pickaxe through most of it because it's just been so much rubble in there. Every now and again I hit a little soft spot, which makes my day, but generally it's been horrendous. But I think I've got about 4 ton dug out today. You wouldn't even notice, but there was quite a lot gone. Loads more to dig out. I'm going to keep going. Got to dig out the intake bay, ledge all this, dig this deeper, take the bridge up, dig under there, ledge, do all the ledges for round the tunnel. And I don't think Easter's next week, and there's no way I'm going to get all this ready because I'm doing it in my evenings, and maybe next weekend, it's Easter weekend, if I get a chance I might get a couple of days on it next weekend as well, because I'm a bit concerned that when it all starts raining, it's going to obviously be a right mess, and some of the deeper bits I'm a bit worried that they're going to cave in. I was going to dig that bit a lot deeper, and I'm just about on clay, and I just thought the last thing I want to do is dig that out, turn that into a pond before it's meant to be one, and the dog or any animals or anything fall in, so that's been left for now. But now I think the next lot of digging is either going to be the front pond or starting to dig this through and getting all my ledges. A couple of hours in the evenings whenever I can, and keep going. It's been hard work, it really has, but I've had some brilliant comments, I've had some great feedback, as I say, encouragement and everything like that. But the thing that's going to spur me on the most is the idea of what it's going to look like at the end. However much some days go terrible, and these days have been bad because you just want to put plants in and do all the pretty stuff, but I've been in the building game long enough now to know that that's not always the case. I'm a little bit closer, and I've just got to think how it's going to be, hopefully not too long in the future. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. I know that a lot of people are keen for me to keep doing updates, but when you just dig in, there's only so much you can talk about, as you can tell from this video. If you'd like, leave it in the comments, and I have lots of new plants waiting in the greenhouse, hardening off, waiting to go in a bit nearer the time when I can get some plants in. If you want me to do a little video on some of the plants that I've got ready to go in, I'm quite happy to do an extra video on that. But for now, it's just going to be a lot more digging. Thanks for watching. See you soon.